Welcome back to the channel, everyone. It is I, your host, Mr. Sean. Sorry for the long absence, but this is Chimera Miniatures' official YouTube channel. Since I last made a video, a lot has happened. I got let go from my job, and it's just been a crazy roller coaster since then. I do have a new job, and I've been learning that, and just getting ready for the holidays in general. So sorry for the long absence, but I'm back, and today not only are we going to dive into just neckbeard things on Reddit, but I'm also going to release the information about the next stage of the miniature giveaway just in time for the holidays. Well, maybe not just in time, because Thanksgiving has already passed. If you haven't been to the channel before, back a couple months ago, I did announce that the winning category for the free miniature giveaway was undead, and that I was going to make 2 undead miniatures, and then was going to allow people that view this channel to vote on them, and one of those will be put up for sale, and the winning miniature will be given away for free for one of the people who voted for it. So I'm going to be explaining the information about that a little later in the video, but for now, let's get into just neckbeard things. Girls under 5'7" are a red flag, ?
Minor coded or not, their height, any girl under 5'7" is basically a red flag for being minor coded, since that's around the common height for children. This applies to canon characters and OCs.
So it took me a second to realize what this guy was talking about, because it was titled that girls under 5'7" are a red flag. I thought this was talking about women in real life, that, you know, short girls are crazy, because, let's be honest, we've heard that argument before, but no, apparently this guy is talking about, like, characters in, I guess, just fiction in general, whether that's anime, video games, what have you, and I guess minor coded is supposed to mean, like, they're supposed to be minors, like, under the age of 18, and that any girl under 5'7" is like an underage character or a lolly, or is supposed to make you like think of them as an underage character, whether they're, you know, supposed to be 18 or not, because 5'7" is the height for children. So let's look at this argument, and let's start by saying that absolutely yes, there are anime characters out there who are supposed to look like children, even if they're not children. And it's the classic, like, oh well, she's a 1,000-year-old dragon, but she has the body of a 3-year-old girl, whatever. No, that's fucking weird, but this guy is taking it a bit too far. This guy is saying that any female character in, let's just go with anime, that is under 5 feet 7 inches is automatically meant to make you think they are a minor. Now, I'm not going to try and guess what this guy's actual height is, though if I had to, I'd say he's probably on the shorter side himself, but I'm only 5'8", and I am a fully sized adult, meaning that I am, if I was to be turned into an anime character, if I was 1 inch shorter, I would definitely be a character. This guy would be like, well, they're trying to portray him as a little boy, and I just don't think that's accurate. I don't know if this guy knows what 5'7" actually is height-wise. I know many fully grown women who are 5'7" or under. In fact, quite the majority of them are, and I would never look at them and go, yeah, you clearly, when people look at you, they are thinking about a child. This is just kind of weird. This guy has, I don't know if he's a short king trying to sound tall, or if he's a super tall guy that just doesn't understand that 5'7" is taller than he thinks it is, but no, a character that is 5'7", that is the height of adults. That is not child height. This one's just weird. This next post was titled, When They See Each Other in the Wild. In today's news, teacher unsure how to write up student for hentai shirt without admitting he knows what hentai is. From the photo, it just looks like there's this dude who, I mean, he looks kind of creepy. I don't know. I feel like I might be judging him too harshly, but just it's a bad photo. But he's got a shirt that says, I heart hentai. And for those of you who don't know, hentai is what, you know, erotic manga and anime is known as. I think this is kind of funny because it's somehow implying that you have to be a neckbeard to know what hentai is, because clearly, like, this teacher's, like, embarrassed. He's like, well, I know that your shirt is inappropriate, but I don't want to admit that I know that, because that's a thing that I would have to admit I know about, and I find that kind of weird. Like, this is probably a joke title. Because, like, here's the thing. Just because you know about something, that in and of itself isn't embarrassing. Like, you can know about things that you're not into. Like, the teacher knowing what hentai is in no way says that he is himself a watcher of hentai. And if he is, that, whatever, man, like, it's not illegal. But, like, knowing of something is not in and of itself perverted. Like, I am aware of what child prawn is, but it doesn't mean I've ever actually looked at it. Like, but you can be aware of a concept without being a partaker of it. Like, the teacher knowing what hentai is could literally be as innocent as at a teacher meeting they're talking about, all right, we caught a student watching cartoon pornography on their phone, and someone be like, oh, we looked it up, that's called hentai. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, so make sure your students aren't watching hentai. Knowledge of a term does not insinuate fandom. Like, I know the names of all kinds of fetishes and kinks and whatnot, and that I'm not into any of them, but I'm aware they exist. I'm aware people have them, and that's just knowledge. Knowledge in and of itself is innocent. But I don't know, it also looks like this is like, I don't know, this guy, he could just be one of those high schoolers in the photo that got a beard early, but this guy looks college age. This guy looks older than, like, high school. So I don't know why anyone would really care unless they were taking photos for the college or something. I don't know. There's not a lot of information here, but I think it's funny that just the idea that somebody who is aware of what hentai is obviously a hentai watcher. Like, there's all kinds of porn that I am like, I know the terms, I don't watch that shit. Like, there's a lot of weird shit out there, and it's not for everybody, but you can still be aware that it exists.
A real female, of course, smells, is dirty. Of course, because it's a human being, it has lots of things. So we have this anime. Isn't it clean and pretty?
So, this one you might look at and think, there's no way, this guy can't be serious. There's no way that someone would make the connotation that somehow anime girls are preferable to real girls because real girls are dirty, anime girls are clean. Or if they do, they're just some kind of like incel, they've never probably even talked to a woman. But I actually have told this story in a previous video, and I can attest that that is not the case. To sum it up, I had a guy that I used to associate with, unfortunately do not anymore, look at me and say, hey, do you know why men prefer anime girls to real women? And my response was, of course, no, I wasn't aware that they did, but go on. He then follows up with the statement of, well, so how all women are whores, and that because of that, these anime girls are pure. No one's ever touched them, more or less because they're not real, and so they'll be pure forever, and they're just so much better. And this guy wasn't some incel at Friday Night Magic who lives in his parents' basement and has never talked to a woman. Like, this was a man who had been married. In fact, we were at his place, we were seeing his new place that he bought after he had just gone through a divorce, and it was me and my fiance, and my fiance was like right next to me when he gave this whole spiel. So someone who should be a completely normal individual who actually had sex with a real woman felt perfectly comfortable announcing this mentality. People do have this mentality, and it's freaking weird. Up next, we have a post about the difference between what the boys post on social media and then what the females post on social media. What boys post on social media. Mapping the Great Replacement percentage of residents who do not belong to the ethnic group of the state. What females post on social media. And it's some girl with big tits making a funny face at the camera. Now, guys, one of the big signs that you're dealing with a neckbeard is the use of the term females. Like, notice how he uses boys for posts on social media. That's like, just, hey, what's up, boys? Like, very casual. Then there's this weird, oddly clinical females that they use, and it's very derogatory. Now, the other thing to realize is that the use of the term females typically indicates neckbeard is making the post and not, say, an incel, because remember, neckbeards do have sex, but incels tend to use even more derogatory terms like femoids or toilets or whatever. But if it's a female, you're dealing with a neckbeard. And neckbeards are also sometimes very political and can be quite racist, and I feel like what the boys post on social media is supposed to be like, it's very highbrow. Look, we're looking at a map, we're looking at demographics, we're looking at charts. But it's about how many foreigners live in a country, which again just seems like weird, jingoistic, xenophobic rhetoric. And meanwhile, so it's also very emotionally stunted, but meanwhile they're trying to make it seem like the female posts are nothing more than girls showing off their rack and making funny faces. But I gotta tell you, like, as a nerdy but somewhat normal person, I'd much rather see big titty women making funny faces than I would engaging in slightly sneaky racist charts. So you know what? I prefer what the females post to the social media than what the neckbeards or the boys post. I mean, honestly, who doesn't enjoy a nice pair of tits? And if you enjoy a nice pair of tits and also miniatures, then please come on down to Chimera Miniatures, where we have the finest repainted miniatures, including our speciality, the not safe for work HeroClix miniatures. For those of you new to the channel, please note that this channel is not monetized. I have no Patreon. What I do have are custom miniatures that I design and hand paint myself, as well as not safe for work custom HeroClix miniatures. As stated at the beginning of this video, it is time to show off the miniatures that we have that you could potentially win. First up, we have this Undead Experiment. He is a skeletal zombie-like creature. As you can see, lots of different wires and fluids coming out of him to reanimate his corpse, and he is one of the 2 miniatures you could potentially win. We're calling him Undead Experiment. And then for the second miniature that is up for potential winnings, we have the Ghoul Priestess. Here we see her in her blue ceremonial outfit, a long ceremonial rapier, and just altogether a kind of more refined, slightly more lifelike undead creature as opposed to the Undead Experiment. This one again is called the Ghoul Priestess. So as soon as this video goes live, we are going to have the bidding open both on this video as well as my Instagram, which there will be a link in the description. To enter this drawing, just cast your vote both in the comments section in this video as well as on the post on my Instagram, and cast your vote. Either type out Undead Experiment or Ghoul Priestess. Voting on both this video and on Instagram gets you 2 entries into the contest. Please do not vote more than this, as it will disqualify you. Voting will end on January 31st, 2023, and at that time we will tally the votes. Whichever of the 2 miniatures has gotten the most votes, we will randomly select one of the people who voted for it to be given the item completely free. The other miniature will be put up for sale on my eBay page, so if yours doesn't win, you will still have a chance to get it. It will just cost some money. Due to the fact that the previous round of voting only had 1 vote, I will say that in order for this contest to be valid, we will need at least 50 votes in order, or otherwise the contest will be null and void. So be sure to cast your vote, like, subscribe, be sure to share this video around, get others to vote as well, and hopefully we get the amount of votes we need and we can do a fun little giveaway just in time for the new year. And without further ado, let's get back to the video.
You being ashamed to send your tit pic is misogynistic. If you were really a feminist, you would be comfortable showing us your body. Breasts are not sexual body parts. They're something everyone has. Don't let your internal misogyny stop you from sending nudes. Boobs are boobs, and you need to learn a thing or 2 about feminism.
Internally screaming. I love the fact that there are men out there that think they can throw out the term feminism as a way to go, yeah, you know what, why don't you take your top off? I'll take my top off. We're all equals here. It's not sexual. It's just people not having tops on. It's feminism. I support you. And it's like, okay, yes, like, I live in Ohio, and in Columbus, Ohio, our capital city, it is perfectly legal for women to walk around topless. You know what women don't do in Columbus, Ohio? Oh, right, walk around topless. I mean, there's a thing called Comfest every year in a park that I think there's a lot of topless women. But no, the thing is, it's like, yes, just because it doesn't have to be sexual doesn't mean that it's not. Like, if I tell you I want to see your tits, it's sexual. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not going to play innocent here. Like, I like boobs, and getting to see boobs is a sexual thrill for me. And it is for a lot of guys. And that's okay, but don't throw out the word feminism just to try and convince women to show you their tits that don't want to show you their tits. Like, it is sexual. And it's not that they're ashamed of their bodies necessarily. It's that they don't want you to see them in that way. They don't want to expose themselves to you because it is sexual. And they don't have sexual feelings for you. Yes, boobs are boobs, but No, you need to learn a thing about feminism, because what feminism is really fighting for is the girls who are comfortable and want to just walk around town without a shirt on the same way a guy would have the right to. But at the same time, the girls that don't want to, the women that don't want to, don't have to. Feminism isn't about just freeing the nipple, it's about equality. Up next, we're going to temporarily leave the purely neckbeard area, and we're going to explore the world of some incels.
What is the point of being in a relationship?
I feel like relationships are just fucked. Too many instances I see where a kind, hard-working man who's busting his ass day in and day out comes home just to see his girl get railed by another dude online. Women have 10 times more shitty personality than us. They are more likely to cheat, have a dry-ass personality, and are uninteresting and aren't loyal because they tend to monkey branch and are not innocent at all. There are way more nice guys with good personalities and looks than women. And to top it all off, you can never be vulnerable around them. As soon as you're too clingy or you vent about your problems, it's game over, boyo. She's out the door or sucking another dude's dick because she lost respect. The only ones who can do this are Giga Chads. Even if you manage to make the relationship last, there will be dead bedrooms because a woman has already bonded with you. After finding out the black pill, I don't see relationships the same anymore. It's truly sad because everyone deserves true love, but women have ruined that. Even average people have a hard time finding relationships where they won't get cucked. But I don't know, what do you guys think? Water is wet thread, I know, but I just want to vent. Simps, social media, and women ruin dating and relationships, to be honest.
Before we even get into the comments of this one, I'm just gonna come out and say that this guy is a perfect example of the phrase, if you tell yourself you can't, then you're correct. I don't think this guy has ever been in a relationship. I think he's read too many posts on the incel forums that have said things like, women are boring, women aren't loyal, women don't look good. I don't know, if he thinks there's more guys out there that look good and have good personalities than women, he might be gay. He won't admit that to himself, but hey, if you're gay, nothing wrong with that. I hope you can figure that out and come to terms with that. But you can be vulnerable with women. Women want you to be vulnerable around them. They don't want you to be this stoic, unfeeling individual. I know this from personal experience. Before I got with my fiance, I was not a very empathetic person. And in the years we've been together, she has helped me develop better empathy. As I put it to someone very recently about sometimes, is that there are things she cares about that I don't. But the fact that she cares about them makes me care about them because I care that she cares about them. And that's more or less a roundabout way of getting to empathy. That's about being there, being vulnerable. But this guy probably has never been vulnerable with a woman. He probably has just complained until they got tired of hearing him complain. And he probably complained about how no women wanted to have sex with him. And anybody who might identify as an incel in the audience, I'm going to give you a little tip. If the last thing any woman wants to hear about, whether they want to have sex with you or not, is how no woman wants to have sex with you. If you complain about women not wanting to fuck you to a woman, she will not want to fuck you. So just understand that. It's never going to be, oh my god, I can't believe no woman has ever wanted to have sex with you. Here's my vagina, put your dick in it. They don't know what they're missing. Nobody's going to do that for you guys. I'm sorry, but this isn't porn. That's not how life works. And of course he has to throw out the black pill name, oh, I've discovered the black pill. Guys, black pill's not real. Matrix isn't a thing, blue pill, red pill, black pill. There's no pill. There's no easy answer in life. Life just is. Life finds a way. And if you're not willing to find a way, why are you even living? Also, one last thing about this guy's post. I was unaware that it was a common problem to come home from work and find your girl getting railed by some guy online. I mean, that I didn't realize that was such a big thing, but I'm going to go out on a wild guess and say that this guy has a crush on some adult film star and that he comes home every day, puts on one of her videos, and watches her get fucked by another actor, as these are actors. They're making a movie for entertainment purposes. That just happens to involve sexual acts and get sad going, oh, why not me? Why isn't that my dick inside of her? Because again, I mean, I know people sometimes come home and catch their significant other cheating and getting railed by somebody, but I don't know why you'd be finding that online. As for the comments, I think they're great. The first guy just straight up tells this echo chambery incel to just leave the country. The second one, I actually think is somewhat meaningful. He's trying to get there. He's basically telling this guy that, yeah, it's hard to find a meaningful relationship. It's hard for people on this forum, the incels, to even have a relationship, but there are pros, and ultimately it's something they've never experienced, so how can they make that judgment? And I think that's really great. I think it is important to admit when you don't have enough frame of reference or experience to make a comment on something. Like, back in the days before I lost my virginity, I'd never actually experienced sex, so you know what? I would have been the last person to come to and say, hey, like, what are your thoughts on this thing that happens during sex? Because it's like, dude, I don't know. But, it's all about knowing what you know and what you don't know, and maybe trying to find a way to improve your situation. All right, we're going to do 2 more posts before we call it a day, and let's head back to the neckbeard world. So, unless you've been living under a rock, you probably know that a new Pokemon game came out recently, and of course the neckbeards are focusing less on the gameplay, less on the new mechanics, the new Pokemon, and more on how they feel about how Game Freak has done in giving them a new set of waifus. We're actually going to go over the main post itself. I'm going to talk a little bit about a comment I made on this post on Reddit itself, and how people kind of lost the plot in what I was saying. So let's dive in. The title of this is, wow, it's like Pokemon doesn't need sexy underage girls to sell.
How do you go from this to this? It's such a downgrade in sex appeal. Game Freak needs to do better when they make new Pokemon.
They're not gonna learn, either. The latest game sold 10 million copies in 3 days, so now they will assume they can keep doing this.
And for those of you who don't know, what these two people are talking about is they are more or less comparing the sex appeal of the child rival that your child character in Pokemon had in the previous gen, Sword and Shield, versus the current one, Scarlet and Violet, in which case these two characters are Marnie and Nimona. And it's the fact that they're complaining about the sex appeal of your rival, who, like you in this game, is a child, is rather funny, because that's not really the point. But I've been playing Scarlet, my fiance's been playing Violet, and there's something we both noticed, and it's kind of the weird fact that in this current game, the most recent one, Scarlet, the character of Nimona, they straight up gave her the most appropriate way I can think to put it, is she has a battle kink. Like, this girl is so obsessed with Pokemon battles that it goes beyond obsession and comes into, it's, for some reason, they've given this, like, teenage girl a Pokemon battle kink. And in this post, I actually brought that up as my comment, saying it is weird that they gave the most recent one what, by all appearances, is a kink. Gone are the days of Gary from Red and Blue saying, hey Ash, smell you later. And my comment got downvoted a lot. Someone was like, wow, really mature of you to call a child being passionate about something a kink. And, I tried to explain, hey guys, this is what I meant. This was a joke. People are like, you need to go talk to people IRL and touch some grass. And it's like, all right, okay, come on guys. You kind of lost the plot here. Yes, the character of Nimona is a child, but here's the thing. She is not written by a child. She's not a real child. She was written by a team of adult video game writers, and that is who I am saying it is weird that they gave her a kink. These people decided to give her this personality. They, knowing full well that the Pokemon is full of these thirsty fanboys, and it's like, why would you do that? Why wouldn't you just make her a normal person? Like, I'm not saying, understanding that someone has sexualized a character is not the same as me going, wow, they are sexy. And I just thought that was kind of funny that people were so quick to jump on me for just making an observation. But I also have a fan theory, not about the most recent Pokemon, but about how the design team actually designed 3 of the characters from Pokemon Sword and Shield. And again, this isn't me I'm not reading anything in here that isn't just there on the page, and it's like, this is a game. Yes, the game is meant for children, but it is designed by adults. It is played by adults. There are references in there. They do things to appeal to people that they know are going to be playing the game, and here's honestly my opinion on why they designed these 3 characters, and why in the game you met them in the order you did. So the first one of these characters is the professor of the game, Sonia, and Sonia is taking over for her grandmother, who is the previous professor, but she's kind of looks to be like early mid-20s, I guess, would be like her age, maybe 30, I don't know, again, it's hard with these games. But she is the slightly older woman character, and in a lot of ways kind of reminds a lot of people in this world, their first crush was like their babysitter. All right, and it's your kid, it's innocent, whatever, but that was like the first time you had a crush on someone, and that's the archetype that Sonia represents. Next in the game, you meet the other girl that was in that first post, Marnie, who's kind of a goth type. I'd say your characters are probably both like middle school in this game, and it's like, yeah, when you're a middle schooler, when you're first like coming into puberty, there's a lot of people, their first kind of noticing of a girl was the girl who had kind of the alt style. At least it was in my middle school and high school. It's like, the girl that is kind of finding her own way into adulthood when you as also the same age are just doing that. It's like you kind of have a crush on that. You don't really understand it, but you do. So that second crush is Marnie. And then for those of you who played Shield, you might remember this character, Melanie, who is like the kind of, let's be honest, the best way to describe her would be big titty MILF. And it's like that's something that as you kind of come into yourself, that's something that a lot of young men are attracted to, which is just the older, more experienced, developed woman. And it doesn't have anything to do with the plot of Pokemon. I'm not saying that there's this weird sexual undertone, but I'm saying that these character designs are kind of reminiscent of that cycle, or maybe I'm reading too much into it, but kind of my cycle of what I found myself attracted to as I grew up. But at the same time, yes, these games are made by adults, so it's not like these characters are designed by children for children. So sometimes you can read things into this, but no, that Pokemon does not need sex appeal to sell games. Pokemon is just, it's anime dogfighting, and it's amazing. And finally, when girls see guys looking at attractive women.
You pig.
Those same women when they see attractive shirtless guys. I was actually talking about something similar to this with my fiance the other day, and it's because both my fiance, some of her friends, even some of my own family members, the women that I know, lust after these male K-pop stars, depending on any number of them. And the thing is, yes, women are just as thirsty as men when it comes to lusting over random people they don't know. But here's the difference. My fiance and her friends may be sharing pictures and TikToks and thirst traps of their favorite male celebrities all day, but they're not leering at Korean guys on the street. They're not catcalling them. They're not harassing them in public and not leaving them alone. They keep their fandom as just that, a fandom. It's like a fan relationship. They're not actively approaching. They're not seeking these people out. They're not harassing anybody. They're not seeing some random Korean guy on the street and going, "Hey, baby." No, that's not like the neckbeard mentality where it's like you're not looking at attractive women. You're leering at them. You're coming up to them and trying to convince them to go out with you. You're trying to make conversation with them with ulterior motives. It's not. You're allowed to have dirty thoughts. Nobody cares if you have dirty thoughts. We all have them. It's your actions. Your actions are what define you as a good person or as a filthy neckbeard. And that's ultimately what the difference is between how you think you look at women versus how you actually look at women versus what makes women wet downstairs, but they don't act on that. They don't bother anybody with it. For the most part. It's not all or nothing. But generally, that is what I've noticed. So again, it's all about moderation. And guys, that's all the time I'm going to take up for you today. This was a longer video. I thank you for sticking with me. Again, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, as well as place your vote for which miniature you would like to win by either typing in Undead Experiment or Ghoul Priestess, both here and on my Instagram. Link is in the description. And again, voting will go until January 31st. Please only cast one vote here and one vote on Instagram. Help us get those 50 votes we need in order to make this legitimate. So if even 25 people cast their vote on both platforms, this giveaway is good to go. Again, I'm Mr. Sean, this is Chimera Miniatures, and I hope you alpha great day and an even beta tomorrow. Bye-bye!